Welcome, Namaste. This class is some mild inversions. So mild in that we're not going to be doing arm balances and things like that. But I would caution that if you have uncontrolled blood pressure issues, dropping your head below the heart might not be a safe inversion for you. So you can keep your head a little bit higher when it comes to those. There's two kinds of inversions, one where the heart is higher than the head and one where the legs are higher than the heart. And we will finish with legs up the wall in that case. So you're going to need a little bit of wall space for your practice today towards the end and one yoga break. Okay? And inversions, they reverse the aging effects of gravity. It sounds good. A little beauty treatment as the blood is rushing into the face and that sort of thing. We'll go ahead and start on our backs. We'll warm up a little bit and then into a bridge sequence. So bridge will be our first inversion. Coming on down. I'm taking this first few moments, going to settle onto the mat. Let your breath relax on the mat. Let your breath signal to the body. It's time to be relaxing or working on your practice. We'll keep those foot soles on the mat. Legs are about hip width distance apart. Arms stretched away from the body. Allow the stomach to soften. And the internal organs kind of settle in there. We're going to warm up the pelvis before our bridge sequence. Now on an exhale, pull your belly button down towards the spine and push your low back into the mat. Inhale, push your belly away. So exaggerating that curve in the low back. Back and forth, rocking over the pelvis, moving with the breath. Pelvis is a bowl. You might want to imagine some water in your bowl. You're trying to spill a little bit of water out the front, spill a little bit of water out the back. And finish with that exaggerated curve in the low back. And let your back rest in its natural position. Legs are hip width distance apart, knees stacked over the ankles. Palms are touching the mat somewhere near your hips. We're going to inhale, lift the seat and spine up off the mat and take the arms overhead. Exhale, gently lay the spine back down, bring the arms back down alongside you. Good, keep moving with your breath. Inhale to lift. And exhale to return. Next time you're lifted, permission to hold there and even keeping the arms overhead. If you want to bring the hands back down, let's help to support your weight here, you can, or you can hold the sides of your mat. Keep those hips lifting up towards your ceiling. Good. Exhale, gently lay the spine back down. Upper back, mid back, lower back, seat comes down. Go ahead, counter that shape and bringing the knees in towards the chest. Be rocking side to side or circling the knees. You're going to roll over and meet in a child's pose. Okay, you can come over to one side, push your way up and reset. Child's pose, knees wide or together, hands can reach forward or back. Taking the first couple moments while we have come onto a new plane to again settle. Let the breath guide your body to settle into this new shape. If the hands are reaching back, let's bring them forward. Preparing for a downward facing dog. Lift the chest up, curl the toes under, and lift that seat up. Good. Maybe walking out the feet a little, patting out. Downward facing dog is an inversion. We'll bring those heels into stillness. So lift up the left leg, one-legged dog. Good, inhale, rotate that left leg out to the side. Opening up that left hip. And then if you like, bend that top knee. And try to stack the left hip on top of the right hip. And if you would like to invert here, you can flip your dog. So taking that left foot back behind, open the heart up. And then making your way back into a child's pose for wherever you are. Resting in between sides. Give those wrists a real break too. So maybe roll out the wrists or put the palms up towards the ceiling. And back into a downward facing dog. Resetting, preparing for that second side. Inhale, we'll lift the right leg up. One-legged dog. Rotate that right leg out to the side. We're beginning with a straight leg. And permission to stay with this variation, this hip opener. Or bend that top knee at this point and maybe right hip stacks on top of left. And if anybody wants to invert and flip that dog, careful of props around you, we'll open up. Good. Exhale, returning back and into child's pose, taking that rest again. Good. Slide forward slightly into dolphin, or prepare for dolphin. Dolphin, if you're not familiar, looks kind of like downward facing dog in a forearm plank. So if the two married, this is their child, then come forward, interlace your fingers together. Okay. Elbows staying stacked underneath your shoulders. Curl the toes under and lift the hips up like you're in that downward facing dog while the arms are in that forearm plank sort of position. Two more breaths. Good, bring those knees back down to the mat. Rise up into Japanese. The toenails of your feet are on the mat. Toes are not curled under here. Working into symbol of yoga. You're gonna reach the hands back. Interlace your fingers together if that's available to you, or hold opposite wrists or forearms. Okay, shoulders out, back and down, and then come out to the top of your head and lift the seat up off the heels. Maybe your arms might even come overhead. Carefully rolling back, release your chest expander. Hands can come out in front, child's pose. Maybe stack your fists, rest them underneath your forehead. And up to tabletop position to start. Okay, knees underneath the hips. Normally, we line up shoulders, wrists, elbows. We're actually going to bring our hands underneath, so our hands are more stacked underneath the shoulders, to hare pose or rabbit pose. Okay, you're going to bring the top of your head down. Your elbows will begin to bend. Bring the top of your head down. A little bit of rolling forward till you feel a stretch in your neck and the shoulders. And some of you can stay right here, especially if you use your hands for balance. But if you like, you can reach your hands back towards your calves, and they can rest on your calves. Good. Exhale, rolling back. Stack the fists underneath the forehead. We're going to come up to standing here shortly. Now I'm going to come up through tabletop to downward facing dog. You can come up to standing any other way. It works for you if you need to for your body. And reach my hands forward. And lift up into that downward facing dog again. Soften the knees. Look towards the hands. Walk those hands and feet towards one another. And slowly restack the spine. Be careful we don't come up too quickly. Good. Last thing to come up is your head and your gaze. Standing forward fold. Kind of an obvious inversion here, but again, I'm going to remind you, if you have uncontrolled blood pressure issues, maybe not to drop that hip below the heart. Feet are hip width distance apart in our first standing sequence. Okay, toes are all pointing forward. Nice, catch the hips. Exhale, forward fold. Permission to stay in a half fold, or if it's okay for you, come in a little further, maybe even releasing your hands somewhere else. Good, changing it up a little bit. Soften that right knee. Inhale, lift the left arm up. So we're introducing that rotation here to the left. Good, inversions can be invigorating also. Let's switch to the other side. Bring that left hand down, straighten that right knee, then the left knee. Inhale, sweep the right arm up. Exhale, right hand comes back down, straighten those legs. Catch the hips, long back, strong back, come on up. Good. And then taking a pretty good step up the sides with both feet. So you can hop or you can step. I'm going to hop them up. Taking those feet wide, toes are pointing forward. Okay, hands onto the hips, and then exhale, come forward. Good. Halfway fold or further. Maybe releasing the hands. Inhale, rising back up, catch those hips, and we're coming back up. Would you be comfortable just turning all of your toes to face towards the left? Warrior one first, so we can get into humble warrior, which will be our next inversion. But warrior one first, we set up here. You're gonna bend into that left knee. Okay, hands onto your hips. You need to bring your right hip forward. Now you can stay here with your hands on your hips, or if you want to inhale the arms up into that warrior one expression, you can, but hands on the hips is another expression. Feel like your inner thighs are scissoring together. Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Good, stretch the arms forward, thumbs towards the floor. Great, big sweep around, interlace your fingers behind your back, or hold opposite wrists or elbows as we maybe have done before. Inhale, lean back slightly. Exhale, bow down on the inside of that left leg, humble warrior. Maybe arms even come overhead. Inhale, we're rising back up. Release that chest expander, push off the back foot, bring it towards the top foot, and we'll switch to the other side. So stepping back with the left. Bend into that right knee, hands on your hips. Maybe the left hip will come forward a little bit more. You can square it there. Keep your hands where they are, or inhale those arms up. Inner thighs scissoring together. Let's be strong in our Vira 1 here. Reach the hands forward, thumbs towards the floor. Externally rotate those shoulders, interlacing the fingers behind the back and holding wrists. Inhale, lean back slightly. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe arms overhead. Good, inhale, rising back up. If you can hold that chest expander, push off that back foot, bring it towards the top of your mat. We'll balance out our standing inversions with one more standing forward fold. Exhale, fold, and again, maybe arms will come overhead. Good, inhale, rise back up, release your chest expander. We're going to come back down to our back, so you're going to use that yoga breath. We're going to do a supported shoulder stand and bridge. You're coming onto that back, place your foot soles on the mat. You got that brick in one hand. Drive the feet in the mat so you lift your seat up. Slide that brick underneath your low back. Okay, the biggest surface area underneath the sacrum. Actually, we will start in the bridge. So the legs are about hip width distance apart. Arms, stretch them up beside you. Enjoy this. It's a little restorative. So the psoas and the hip flexors in here, they're getting some nice relaxing extension. Supported shoulder stand, you lift one leg up and lift up the other. Bend the knees, bring the foot soles back to the mat. Push them into the mat. So lift your seat up and slide your brick up and off to the side. Fish pose. Beginning again with your feet on the mat. Stay there. Slide your hands underneath your seat. Stretch out one leg, stretch out the other leg, zip those legs together. Pull the toes back towards your face. Inhale, come up to the elbows and the top of the head as best as you can. Good. Exhale, rolling to the back of the skull again. Bring those hands out. A little shake out, a little bounce out, and then it's time for the legs up the wall. If you have to move your body or move your mat, go ahead. I am already set up here. Legs up the wall. You haven't done this. You bring your hips up towards the wall. Swing the legs up. I'm going to get up there in a second. I just want to talk about hamstrings and your seat position and that. People ask, well, should my seat be right up against the baseboard? It depends on your hamstrings. If your hamstrings are tight and you bring your seat up and it's uncomfortable with the back of the legs there, you may have to scoot your seat away from the baseboard. If it's still not enough, your hamstrings are still really pulling, because this should feel pretty much relaxing actually. Bend your knees, maybe place the heels into the wall or even the whole bottom of your foot into the wall. Okay. Swing up here and stretch those legs up overhead. I'm going to count for about 2 minutes for our Shavasana. This is our Shavasana. If you have the opportunity to stay longer and you're enjoying this, you can ignore me and stay past that 2 minutes. Stretch the arms out away from the body. And if you're staying here, nothing for you to do, but if you were going to get moving, bend the knees, place the feet on the wall. And go ahead and roll onto one side, cradle your head in your arm. Use that top hand, push your way up to your seat, away from the wall. Good. Thank you for joining me for this practice. I think it's kind of a fun, invigorating practice, inversions. And if you enjoy this practice, let me know. Reach out to me and let me know. Until we see each other again, namaste.